Okay, we are ready to get rolling. So my name is John Manna, and for those of you that have been attending our regular monthly educational workshops, you've probably seen me before, and we've got different topics each month and twice a year, of course, lined up with the new releases of ServiceNow. We do something called our top 5 features. This one, of course, of the Utah release. And one little asterisk to that, a disclaimer. Kelly Hepner, who's going to be our presenter today, and I'll turn the mic over to her in a second. She's going to give us a lot more bang for our buck than just 5. We've got our top 5 somewhere in this group, but you're going to get a ton more than 5 today. She's going to build those and kind of group those in sections for you. And we're going to have a very fast pace, show you as much as we can with a lot of visuals and screenshots, and talk about the different things that our clients are getting excited about in terms of the new release. So let me introduce Kelly here. I'll give you a little background for her, and from a housekeeping perspective as well. Anybody attending the session will get a follow-up email. You'll get access to a copy of a recording of this session. You can get a copy of the deck as well. But Kelly is, been with our practice for quite some time. I've personally worked with her for 6 years. And she works with a lot of our strategic accounts. She is a master architect in the ServiceNow community, and we're excited to get her thoughts and spin on these new features and what we think they can do for our company, our clients, in terms of driving more outcomes. One or two housekeeping items, and then I'm going to hand the mic over to Kelly. At the end, we're going to wrap this up with next steps, and next steps are going to be some ideas for you of where do you go from here? How do you decide on which of these things to implement in your own organization? And what does it look like to maybe stop and create a roadmap for continuous improvement? We'll also share some info about Knowledge. If anyone listening to this is going to be at the Knowledge event in Vegas next month, we're doing some exciting things at CDW in terms of having speakers, but also some things we're doing for our customers or folks that are interested in potentially becoming a CDW ServiceNow customer. So stay tuned for that. But without further ado, Kelly, great to have you here, and look forward to you taking us for a tour. Hey guys, any questions you have? There's a Q&A panel on the right. Please put the questions in there. I'll look at those as they come in. Time permitting, I'll tee some of those up for Kelly as well. Kelly, welcome.
Thanks, John. Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here to sort of share some release highlights. All of the highlights that I'm going through, and the reason why I couldn't pick just 5 is because they're all pretty amazing. There's even more beyond what I put in here. So this is just a sampling of the highlights from the Utah release. So we're going to start with the platform release highlights. But one of the big things about this release very specifically for ServiceNow, it is a lot about in the platform simplifying the experiences, like with theme builder, mobile, the workspaces. The configurable workspaces has just grown tremendously over the last couple of releases since that next experience has come out. Really purposeful automation so that our process optimization can be improved, and the workforce optimization as well. So just that growth there, and really solidifying the IT strength overall, which in the past we've done some changes there, but it's just continuing to grow and really making IT a bit stronger. We're going to touch on some other areas of the platform, but just wanted to bring those to you just so that you realize really what ServiceNow is focusing on. So we're going to start with the next experience. This is really around those configurable workspaces that are going to help improve your productivity and engagement with, depending on the area that you work in. It's really intended for those users that spend most of their day in the platform, like customer service agents, IT support teams, things like that. It's really bringing everything that they do into one place. So we've had experience with workspaces, but now with these new and configurable workspace, new and improved configurable workspaces, it really just does a lot with unified navigation, providing dependency views, rich data, and intelligent search, things you didn't have in some of the workspaces before. So they continue to improve this by updating or adding new. So we've got in this release service operations workspace, strategic planning workspace, operational resilience workspace, hardware asset workspace has been improved, security incident response workspace, vulnerability response, and then enterprise architecture workspace for APM. So those are just some of the continued changes that ServiceNow is bringing in this next experience. Theme builder. The theme builder is just amazing in this. I've actually seen it in play. I've got to touch it a little bit. As we start to realize what this is bringing, it's really going to help us with the ability to create and manage and implement themes to manage the company's brand overall. It allows automatic theme generation to actually simplify adding organizations' branding to their apps, workplace, workspace, and web portals, like with one distribution. So you don't have to go to each of those and apply it. So you can apply that theme builder across. And we're going to talk about that on the next slide with the unified theming. It's going to really make it easy to add images, logos, and things like that easily across the environment. Really enhanced and great product that was released here. Unified theming in the mobile app. So now we have that unified capability in the mobile app, which is really about that default style in the next experience UI, starting in this Utah release. So this is coming out. The enhancement itself includes a new look and feel from the next experience and that unified base theming between mobile and web-based UI experiences. So whereas we had a lot more configuration that we had to do to get the theming to match before, now it's unified between mobile and your portals, and which is a great enhancement as well, right? Anybody that had to work in those spaces knows the challenge to get them to sync up and look alike. AI search, definitely an improvement. It's really going to make it easier for those teams to get their information quicker. Really, it has a better unified search experience across the platform. It's more agent-focused filtering and sorting in those different workspaces. So it's really something that has increased as those workspaces are getting built in that configurable workspace. It's just really the power of it is coming to fruition as we continue to grow in the platform with all these features. It also has like advanced features of auto complete suggestions, typo handling. So that's really nice. And also exact match, which these are just things that the platform needed and it's just continuing to enhance it. So we're going to talk about Now Intelligence a bit more. Some of the things in the Now Intelligence that are really tied here, like the process optimization expansion. What's happening here is it's going to identify actionable areas for improvement across the enterprise using process mining, identify areas of improvement across the enterprise processes, and then also it's going to improve efficiency of business processes. So this continues to expand and grow and bring in more things like this AI-powered root analysis. That just brings so much power to what we're able to do and improve those business processes overall. It's really tightly connected to the platform capabilities to make improvements. So it's added to those areas of the platform to help you make those improvements with your business processes. Workforce optimization expansion. Again, expanded availability to develop high-performing teams across the enterprise. It's going to help assist in being able to manage team schedules and work assignments much more effectively, giving team management around work schedules, skills, training, and schedules. And it'll help with scheduling overall workload balance, which gives us, a better idea of what those day-to-day employees need to be working on and focusing on. It'll help create learning opportunities with AI-powered skills and learning recommendations, visualize and validate demand forecasts based on historical workload. So it looks back and says, hey, based on how this was, your team's been performing, the workload they've had, this is what the future is going to be able to look like and what your forecast. So you know what kind of staffing that you need, which is really a great capability as well. It's always a challenge to understand what you need in the future if you don't know, have a way to have the system predict that for you. And this gives you that a better capability. Also, it helps you by understanding what those skills are to make sure you have the skills to be able to meet that demand as well. So there's a lot of new abilities there. And of course, the dashboard is enhanced as well. Document intelligence enhancements. This is one of my favorites. It really is crazy because it has this text extraction from documents to enhance the user experience. So I have not seen this in action. I'll take that back. I watched a demo video, but I'd like to touch it myself, and I haven't had the opportunity to get it installed in a PDI or a demo instance yet. It's on my list of things to do, but it's really about delivering that better experience to be able to monitor document processing solutions, able to extract large amount of information from long tables and documents like invoices and purchase orders and bring that data. Just being able to extract that into the platform is crazy. So you'll see there in the screenshot being able to bring that data out. Also, it can extract checkbox information on forms and enable that through automation. So we can actually use that checkbox data and create workflows for automation based on what was checked on that document. So if you have questions and they say yes to this, that, you can actually drive workflow and create tasks for other, for various different assignment groups to be able to just route that data and get things done for your users quicker. So it's one of my favorites, actually. All right, so there is a new product, health and safety product. It is part of the Safe Workplace Suite, workplace case management. It has health and safety incident management, which is the new product, one of the new products there, and it's part of Employee Center and now mobile. So these things, there's things there that already existed that it's now a part of. But the big thing is this brand new product for health and safety incidents. So it allows employees to self-report incidents, near misses via self-service, just like we do, requesting access or anything like that. It also gives that role-based experience for compliance managers, where those compliance managers can also export those incident logs and annual summaries like the OSHA 301 incident reports. There's also annual OSHA 300 recordable incident logs, and then annual OSHA 308 incident summaries as well. To be able to export that data and have it for reporting to OSHA is an amazing enhancement to the platform, and just being able to record it. You can keep up with all different types of incidents, health issues, things like that, depending on what your industry is and what kind of reporting you have to give up, data you have to give to OSHA. So it collects all that. It also allows those safety teams to conduct investigations with an injury and illness log and perform those root cause analysis. So why did we have this issue happen within our organization? Whether it is a, excuse me, I'm going to grab a drink real quick. An issue with a forklift, right? Maybe somebody got injured. What happened? What went wrong? So they can actually investigate that and report on it so that they have the details around it. Omnichannel callback, part of the customer experience there. It's going to help customers avoid queues by requesting an agent callback, which is pretty cool there as well. John, did you have a question, or do we have a question?
No, Kelly. Yeah, Kelly, I thought I would jump in and share a couple of thoughts on some of the things you've shared so far here, and overall, right, what we're seeing in terms of the arc that is ServiceNow. We're seeing a lot more verticalization. So some of these things that you're sharing, they don't scream a particular industry. But for example, when we talked about the new safety workplace part of that platform, clearly organizations that are in manufacturing, warehousing, contracting, things like that, right? This is all built based on needs that have come from those organizations, things that we've been building for clients. And ServiceNow simply looks at that and says, there's a need. Let's put a wrapper around it. Let's support it.
Right.
Let's make it plug and play. And I think that's been interesting. I know you've been in the space for a very long time, but this is the evolution of ServiceNow from IT service management to true enterprise service management, and even this omni-channel callback. Right, I'm so used to this now as I'm being supported as a consumer out there. Whether it's my public utilities or whatever it is, or my internet service, anything that routinely has long wait times, by having that option to click a button and get called back when it's my turn, almost removes that wait list. That wait line disappears for me as a consumer, right?
Mhm.
Because I go back to work, and someone's going to call me, or my phone's going to ring, or I'm going to get an automated chat when it is my turn. So enterprise service management is really what's happening here.
Right. Absolutely. Um, what's really cool about this omni-channel callback is that it works with some of the features that were in the past couple of releases, where like in the first bullet there, it allows customer to request a callback as soon as an agent's available via the engagement messenger or a portal. So it's not necessarily just I've called in and I'm requesting a callback. I can go through my portal or engagement messenger, which is embedded ServiceNow capability in other portals outside of ServiceNow. So I don't have to be inside of ServiceNow to do that or be on a phone call. So that's really great, an expanded capability. It also lets you to, and so this is more, it's tied to the customer experience, but it's a lot of the platform stuff that's tied to customer experience or overall platform changes. And then it's going to also let the customer schedule a phone or Zoom callback with an agent as well. So not just a phone call again.
Yeah.
And then it's going to let you add context to route the callback to the best available agent. So it's going to ask specific information to get to the right agent when they're calling back. So it might not just be the next agent, it's going to be the best available agent based on what your needs are.
Yeah, I love that. And for everyone that's joined us today, many of you know this, but CDW is not only a top ServiceNow partner, we are a top consumer of ServiceNow. We've been a customer of ServiceNow since 2013, and now I put on my customer hat, and I'm going to go nag our ServiceNow team to get this omni-channel callback thing working. Hallie, I'll let
Absolutely.
you. I'll turn it back over to you. I know our next section is customer service management, which is actually the
That's a little
first.
bit tied to it. Oh.
Yeah, it's the first thing that CDW began using ServiceNow for a long time ago, and look forward to hearing more about that too.
Yep. So again, and remember everyone, just because I'm in a platform area and I show one or two items doesn't mean it's everything that was released in Utah. And also continue to remember things are released from, from Utah to the next release in the store almost every month. And coming up in knowledge, there's going to be new things that they're going to talk about releasing. So just remember, this does not encompass everything. It's just some really exciting highlights, in my opinion. So we also have Google Business Messages, which is another new feature. One of the great things about ServiceNow is they continue to add other ways that customers can reach out and get support. So now customers can initiate conversations from Google entry points like search, maps, and websites, which is pretty amazing. We actually have a customer right now that we are doing an integration with a Google API, and it would be really cool to then expand this once they get upgraded to Utah to be able to sit, for their consumers to be able to message back from those maps to get additional information. Also proactively send agent and system initiated messages to customers via Google Business Messages. So once you're connected to that Google Business account, you can send proactive messages from ServiceNow to those customers, which is an exciting new feature. And then also you can create conversational experiences with messaging capabilities with like rich cards and carousels and quick response replies. So it's not just, hey, an interaction constantly with an agent. There are other capabilities that are expanded here. And of course, the screenshot there, it's all on mobile. You can do it within your browser as well, but mostly on mobile. There is where most people work these days, right? They go and they got their phone, and that's how they're going to interact with where they're getting their customer support from. Real-time voice transcription with Amazon Connect. Another amazing feature. It's going to automatically capture and transcribe the conversations in real time via that Amazon Connect integration. Okay, so Amazon Connect is a way to communicate, and it's going to actually, it's a phone communication. It's going to listen to the text just like it does on, Teams and other platforms, and transcribe that information right into your interaction or your case, wherever you're at in the platform, having that conversation. And it displays the conversation in text in the agent workspace alongside the customer data and the case details, which is pretty amazing. It also provides the managers and agents that transcript log to go back and do searches in, so that they can use it in training gaps. So whereas before with IVR systems, a lot of times managers of call centers would have to go back and listen to audio. Now they can just go find the case and not have to link back to the audio recording, but have that transcribed data right inside, attached to the case. Much faster than the listening of a recording. Much faster than that. Install base foundation. This is going to help provide a 360-degree view of the product install base and services. For those of you who've been part of ServiceNow using customer service management, when install base was originally released, it had a very small footprint. And over the time since its original release, it has just continued to grow and expand and provide more value. So here we can establish association between child and parent install base items, which is a great feature as well, because we didn't have that kind of visibility before. We're going to be able to capture foundational install base data, including location, install date, status, and services in a single view. Again, something that provides value for understanding where that is installed, what that location is, when it was installed, right in that single view, for the agent to be able to easily support the customer. And then also help those, there's going to be able to have the admins to authorize internal or third-party users to manage items on their behalf. So before, only install base admins could manage items. Now it's almost like that they can, they can choose someone to manage that for them, even third-party users from that, outsourcing capability that CSM has as well. So that's a great enhancement, because it was limited, or you had to grant that access, administratively to different people to be able to, and manage that install base. Service definitions, again, another one, it's allowing you to define services for case types for specific products. This is, a great enhancement. Before, you couldn't associate services and case types to products. You just really associated, you could have a product, and it wasn't necessarily tied to a service or a case type. So that's an enhanced capability that is continuing. Before, you could tie like a product to a sold product, and you would build your case types around that sometimes. But now you actually have in your, being able to take those service definitions and tie them to, hey, this service definition is very specific for this case type and these types of product offerings that we have. And then you can also present your customer with, all the relevant service-based on the products they own. So if they own like a specific billing product, what are all the services that are tied to that product? Or maybe they own some other product, and what are all the services that are tied to that product? And they can choose and get information about getting support for those services very specifically. You can also then filter those case types based on the customer product model, context, or the relevant service itself. So that service is tied to that product model as well. All right, a little bit about the ITSM in ITSM. So operations workspace, that it's been modernized and moved to the, it's in that configurable workspace, but it's been enhanced. It's really about simplifying change scheduling with access to all the aspects of the process in a single view, and the ability to investigate incidents in context with metrics and data from the Microsoft Endpoint Manager. So we're getting a lot of information in now. And it's just in that single pane of glass where I can just click around and get everything I need to be able to successfully perform my job, right? So it's really simplifying my change scheduling, right, in that single view as well. So there's a lot of different things that we can do here, but it's been enhanced from where it was before. Digital portfolio management is really, helping us to make better informed business critical decisions by integrating that DevOps flow for a deeper dive in the operational insights. So we're going to bring that DevOps flow in, those metrics, and be able to do a deeper dive. And it does this. It has these pre-built indicators now that is tied to it that's going to bring that data in for you. It's going to simplify that experience with that new configurable workspace redesign, right? So that's really going to make life a lot easier. And then you're going to be able to implement it quickly with those popular KPI groups. So things that are already pre-built in ServiceNow, which has been enhanced and has grown, right? So, and then you're going to be able to easily map your portfolio. IT operations management, and I've only got one thing here. There's several other items that are there in the Utah release, but this might be my absolute favorite. Again, I've watched a video of it. I haven't actually seen it live where I'm touching it and digging into it. But automated machine learning mapping suggestions. This is amazing. Anybody that's ever done service mapping or had to map applications know that there's a lot of information that you have to have and have collected to be able to do this successfully. So now you can have a lot less manual effort than you did before. You don't need as much expertise. You don't need any entry points. No entry points required, which is really, again, I've seen the videos. I have not seen it in action, and I'm pretty excited about it. And then you can create your application services based on those service suggestions that are generated from the machine learning with just a few clicks. Really, it's really going to go out. It's going to learn the environment. It's going to give you those service mapping suggestions based on what it's finding. Hopefully soon, I'll be able to see this live and in action, maybe in one of our instances where we're doing service mapping. But it's one of the more exciting features from a standpoint. If you've ever done service mapping, you know how much of a challenge it is and how long it takes and how much manual effort you have. Asset management. So Software Asset Manager has this new success value builder. It really is allowing you to understand what type of what parts you haven't used yet. So each of these widgets at the top gives you like, hey, what apps have I installed? The apps and plugins I've installed. What have I completed actually setting up and managing? Like publisher pack utilization. I have installed 5 publisher packs. I'm only using 3 of those publisher packs. I've only brought in those entitlements, that kind of thing. It starts to look at that data and understand how you can drive that continual progress toward your success goals, and making sure that you've got your environment compliant and you're utilizing your software asset management fully, right? So it'll help you have a roadmap, a success plan. It will automatically generate tasks for you. So in that, when I talked about, hey, I've got publisher packs installed and I've got 5 installed, but only 4 of them are being used. What'll happen is the value builder will automatically generate a task created for that additional published pack that you can, so you start using it and start getting the entitlements tied to it, and really building that out, so it'll start to generate those tasks for you automatically. Then you can also create, assign, and track new value builder tasks through that completion in the workspace, so you can manage that. It's all about getting the value out of your software asset management product, right? There's a lot that it does, a lot it brings to you. On a lot of organizations, focus on certain areas and don't get to the entire value. And this is going to help drive that and have that roadmap for you to get there. Containerized software licensing. So this is new. It's going to allow organizations now to manage licensing compliance for software that's deployed on containers. Before, we weren't able to do that. For things like, you'll see here, you can discover those infrastructure licensable software, as well as, determine the compliance position for things like SQL Server and Windows Server products on deployed containers. We didn't have that visibility before, and now we can actively monitor that container utilization and automatically create those remediation options, just like the other remediation options that are automatically created when you're non-compliant. So when you run your compliance, it'll give you those suggestions on how you remediate, whether it's to purchase, to uninstall, things like that. So you have a couple of choices there when you're doing your remediation. It will now do it for those containers, which is a great new enhancement, especially if you're a software asset manager and you don't have that full visibility into what's out there. There is also a new calendar. I have been doing software asset management for, well, since it was released, and even before that, from the old software asset management with SAM Pro. For contracts is tied to software asset management. There's now a software contracts renewal calendar very specifically. This calendar will actually give you that visibility based on your days that have passed, like with its 60 days out, 90 days out, 120 days, 150 days out. Whereas before, out of the box, all we got was notifications. And then oftentimes I would help my customers do exactly this and build them a dashboard that gave them these dates, because there wasn't anything out of the box. So now you get that single calendar view of the software contracts and entitlements that are up for renewal or set to expired. It's going to let you drill down, again, like other dashboards within ServiceNow. It is a working dashboard, and you can click into it and get to the detailed information. And then you can also automate your software and contract renewals across all the stages of the purchasing process. So if you have that tied to purchasing, you can also do that contract and renewal management there as well. So this is a pretty cool feature. Now we don't have to build that type of capability anymore because it comes with the product. Hardware asset workspace enhancements. So this is one of the areas that are, got the new enhancements for that configurable workspace. We're going to be able to track and manage those procurement activities from a single dashboard in the hardware asset workspace now. I'm going to be able to have those recommended activities, alerts, and actionable insights on open requests, purchase orders, pending transfer orders, and more. So you'll notice a common theme There's more about actionable tasks, actionable insights throughout. So ServiceNow is starting to provide more intelligence based throughout the platform. So in the beginning, we talked about, the now platform intelligence, and we touched on platform items, and now that's just getting tracked throughout, getting applied throughout the different applications. And then, of course, like always, in most of the in the workspaces, you have the ability to stay on top of your critical tasks. So they're in the forefront, knowing what I need to work on right now, those important things that we need to work on. So you get that single pane of glass, that place to go and work and have that experience and do have everything you need to do in one place. And then manage pallets for inventory. This again, just increasing the capabilities. Worked with a lot of customers in the past when they had pallets, had to create something custom to track it. Now ServiceNow has added this to hardware asset management. It lets you manage the inventory a little bit more effectively by associating assets to an entire pallet for bulk updates in alignment with warehouse best practices. So now I don't have to do individuals, but I can tie them to one pallet. Now you know the exact location of those assets in a stock room based on what pallet they're on, using aisles and space details of the pallet, which is pretty amazing. And then of course, meet supply chain and logistic needs for increased accountability for assets not in use. So you know where they're at, and then having that accountability to be able to manage that. So there is the new pallets section where you put in your data for pallets instead of just an individual asset. Asset donation workflow. A lot of times organizations go through, and when they've ended the life cycle of their hardware, it doesn't mean that it's bad, and they don't always want to dispose of it because disposal costs. There's other we don't want to fill up landfills, so oftentimes they'll donate those assets. And now with hardware asset management, we get an out of the box asset donation workflow that lets you automatically automate those technology donations to charities through that workflow. So it goes through, hey, I've got a catalog request, we're going to get an approval for it, plan, we're going to prepare those assets, have scheduled pickup for them so that we know where they're at, where they've gone, track the asset departure and that charity information. Also, this information is now stored in your platform, so you know what happened to that asset at the end of its life cycle. So it's part of that end of life cycle capability that is added. So you get that accurate record. Whereas if anybody ever comes back, because there's compliance tied to that, right, for disposal of hardware, it will be tracked in the platform.
Hey, Kelly,
Yes.
thanks for this. And at this spot, I just want to hold here a second, share a couple of thoughts. First of all, a couple of folks have asked, hey, if we could go back to this slide or that slide. We're going to make sure everyone here gets a copy of this deck. So you'll have that for yourself to use internally in any way that you'd like. The other thing I wanted to ask, Kelly, from a questions perspective coming in, whenever we come to these points of new builds and the topic of upgrades, is there any advice you have around it, from a, depending upon how many years you've had ServiceNow and how much it's been customized versus configured? I know there's lots of tools out there to do health checks. I know ServiceNow has one that they can run. I know we use quality clouds internally and for our customers. Anything you want to share about kind of that upgrade process and just to help folks maybe that haven't been through many of those, what to expect or what they should be thinking about a little bit.
So anytime you customize something, like if you customize out of the box, this isn't configured, this is customized. There's a lot of places to configure in the platform. But if I go and I change the foundation of how the business rule works, I change the script inside of it, things like that, it will get flagged in an upgrade and it'll be a skip. So ServiceNow won't upgrade that if in fact you've modified it. So we try to keep things out of the box as much as possible and just configure, but it's not always possible depending on the customer's business need. When that skip comes up, that tells you that there was a change to that part of the platform and the upgrade, and you need to compare them and decide if you want to accept what ServiceNow is doing or keep your customization, or maybe even merge them together at that point in time. There is also a new product called Cloud Runner that was released last November by ServiceNow in the store that generates automated test framework. So where ATF exists, where people had to create the automatic tests before, it will actually generate all your automated tests by walking through your tables and your business rules and everything you have going on in the platform. I highly recommend using that for an upgrade because you can see the differences pre-upgrade and post-upgrade. Running things like quality clouds or ServiceNow scans to see if you have some issues before you're going to do an upgrade. So maybe you can address them and maybe rectify them. But yeah, just all of those types of things. And of course, ServiceNow has some best practices around it.
Yeah, it's good to know. And I know that just because something gets flagged as a skip or an exception or an issue doesn't necessarily mean you're in trouble. It means that it's a flag to look at because these instances over time, it's okay if there's some things in there that are coming up on these reports. Certain things, of course, will need attention. So I think that's good advice from a pure, health perspective.
Absolutely.
Good.
Do
Well,
we have any other specific questions?
yeah, the only other question is they were all somewhat related. I think there's a lot of excitement around the omni-channel callback. You
Yes.
mentioned integration with Zoom, and I know that in
Yes.
ServiceNow's documentation, it's the only one listed as having an extension. So the question is, what about other meeting tools like Teams and Skype and all that? And
I
I
am
mentioned,
pretty sure some of those will be coming from callbacks, but right now you can already integrate Teams. That's been there for a while, but it's not customer facing at this point in time. So I would expect that as ServiceNow does, they'll add Zoom, and next thing you know, it might be Teams, it might be some, just on
right?
and on,
Yeah.
like they always do. They start in one place and continue. Like when I mentioned the install base, that has matured every release since it was originally released.
Yep. Makes perfect sense. Okay, I think we're good to get into our next steps discussion, right? And a couple of things here. First off, you've seen a lot of things here. The key is prioritizing those, and of course, part of that should always drive from the organizational goals and objectives. So what we'll always look at is what other initiatives do you have as a business going on for 2023 and heading into 2024. Let's look at what new functionality, not just the stuff that came out in Utah, but stuff that's sitting in the product you already own. Let's first look at what you've already been licensed for with ServiceNow and figure out what can you put to work to help the organizational goals and objectives, both near term and longer term, right? And if there are things that could help you accelerate the business goals that maybe you don't own yet, and it would require additional ServiceNow licensing purchases, let's assess that. Let's look at the value, the outcomes, let's look at ROI, and then of course assess the cost side of the implementation of those things. And I think it's important to do that now and have a leading 6 or 12 months for budget reasons, right? And sometimes, there's some great functionality, but just because it's going to cost X, it's not viable right now. Working that business case and ROI in will help for getting that in place, say Q1 of next year. And the other thing that I wanted to share, and I popped something in chat here too, we will be at Knowledge 23 in full force. So that means a couple of things for folks that are going to be there, and also folks maybe that can't make it. If you're going to be there, reach out to us. We'd love to set up one-on-one meetings. Kelly, her team, 30 or 40 other folks from CDW will be there, subject matter experts in all areas. We've got a private room and a private dining area off the exhibit area. We can set up a working breakfast, working lunch, and get real stuff done. So if there's some workshopping you want to do, some road mapping, if you don't have a roadmap in place and want to start creating one, we'll help you build it out there. If you're not going, then we'll have separate meetings with you, and we'll do some workshopping with you, via Zoom, via Teams or whatever. We're here to help. You're a CDW customer, and because of that, you have access to resources here that can help you put those things together, and we're happy to do it. And by the way, if you are going to be at Vegas, we've got a customer appreciation event at the Hard Rock. Some more details in the chat there. And when you get this deck, of course, you can link to it as well. So register for that if you'll be there. Look forward to meeting you personally. If you won't be there, what we often do when we come back is we'll put a little recap together, kind of our top 5, and then Kelly will force in another 30, but our top X number of things that we took away from Knowledge 23, and we'll come back and share it with everyone who couldn't make it. So thanks to everybody who joined. Thanks for the community we're building here with CDW and ServiceNow organizations. Happy to help any way we can. And I look forward to hearing from you as well as far as future content. You'll get a survey when this thing closes out. Let us know what you think, and let us know what other topics might be interesting for you as we plan out our calendar for the rest of the year. Thanks, everyone. Thanks so much, Kelly. Appreciate it.
Thanks, John. Have a
Talk to y'all
nice day,
soon.
everyone.
Bye-bye.